So, you've got your sights set on an interview with Amazon? Well, you are in exactly the right place. Over the next few minutes, I'm going to give you a clear, practical roadmap to absolutely crush the software development engineer interview, that's SDE for short, at Amazon Mexico. Let's dive right in. It's a direct question, isn't it? Because prepping for Amazon is about so much more than just memorizing answers. It's about really understanding their culture and their process. This guide is designed to give you that clarity. So if your answer right now is I'm almost ready, my goal is that by the end of this, it's a confident, yes, I am. So here's our game plan. We're going to break this down into 5 key stages. First, we'll get a big picture overview of the whole process. Then, we'll dive deep into that initial technical assessment, cover the tech topics you absolutely have to master, talk about those famous leadership principles, and finally, we'll walk through the final round of interviews. Ready? Let's get started. Okay, before you start running, you gotta know the route, right? Understanding the interview process from start to finish is gonna help you focus your energy and your preparation exactly where it needs to be for each stage. This is the standard path you can expect. It all starts with your application. If your profile is a good fit, you'll get an online technical assessment. Pass that, and you'll have a technical phone screen. And then it's the big one. The final loop, which is a series of 4 to 5 back-to-back interviews with different members of the team. All right, let's talk about that first major filter, the online technical assessment. This is really your first chance to show off your coding chops, and believe me, preparation here is absolutely key. I want you to burn this number into your mind, 105. That's how many minutes you get to solve 2 coding problems. There is not a lot of room for error here, which means speed and accuracy are everything. Once that clock starts, it does not stop. These are the keys to success, coming straight from Amazon's own guidance. First, your code has to compile. There are no points for "it almost works." Second, think about the edge cases. What happens if the input is null or negative or a massive number? Third, don't just settle for the brute force solution. Always look for a more efficient one. And finally, explain your thinking. The how you solve the problem is just as important as the solution itself. So you've passed the initial assessment. Now we get to the real heart of your prep. There are no shortcuts here. This is all about having a rock-solid foundation in computer science fundamentals. These are the 5 technical pillars you have to master. We're talking data structures, algorithms, coding, object-oriented design, and databases. But look, it's not about memorizing definitions. It's about deeply understanding when to use each tool, and more importantly, why. So this doesn't feel too abstract? Let's look at some real-world examples. For system design, you need to be ready for a huge challenge, like design an e-commerce store like Amazon. For algorithms, classic LeetCode problems like two-sum are essential for mastering arrays, and something like validate binary search tree is perfect for trees. Practicing with these kinds of problems is your best friend. A lot of people think the Amazon interview is just about code, and that is a huge mistake. The reality is, how you work and how you make decisions is just as important, and they measure this through their leadership principles. This idea is so important. The leadership principles are not just some poster on a wall, they are the company's operating system. Every single decision gets filtered through them. And in your interview, they're going to be looking for hard evidence that you think and act this way too. So how do you prove it? Well, they're going to ask you behavioral questions, asking you to tell stories from your past experiences. The key is to structure your answers to specifically demonstrate one of the principles. For every single one of the 14 principles, you should have a clear, concise story ready to go that shows how you've applied it in a real situation. Okay, you've made it. You got past the online assessment, you nailed the phone screen, now you're at the home stretch, the interview loop. It's intense for sure, but it is the final stage. This loop is a marathon. We're talking 4 to 5 interviews back to back. And even though each interviewer might focus on something a little different, they're all evaluating 2 things at the same time: your technical skills and how well you align with Amazon's culture. In the end, it all comes down to this. On one side, you have your technical skills. Can you write code that is scalable, robust, and well-tested? And on the other, your alignment with the principles. Do your actions show that you have a customer obsession, a curiosity to learn, and that you take ownership of your results? You really need to shine in both of these areas to get an offer. And we'll end with a question that perfectly sums up the Amazon mindset. Their whole day one culture means always acting with the energy and urgency of a startup. So the real question isn't just if you can pass the interview, but what problem are you coming to solve? Prepare with that mindset, show off your technical excellence, and truly embody those leadership principles. If you do all that, you'll be more than ready. Good luck.